Hi, everybody. I'm Tanya Marie Dubé, and welcome to this episode of The Empowered Woman. I'm so happy you're here with me. Today, my guest is the fabulous Melody Pourmoradi. She has been coaching women for over a decade on how to create their vision of a truly kick-ass life. She thrives on sharing her message of self-empowerment and a wellness-centered lifestyle through her writing. Her latest project, Girl Empowerment, she has created a digital course to support women to create income-generating girls' empowerment groups in their own communities. Her greatest goal for every young girl is to find her own voice and live a life that lights her up from the inside out. So happy to have you with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How are you?
So glad to be here. I'm doing great.
Good. I didn't mention your website. Let's just get it out there right away. It's lifeevolutionscoaching.com in case anybody wants to go look her up. Now, everybody, as always, Melody has got a fantastic free gift for you today just for showing up, and she's going to teach you how to use that gift at the end of the interview, so please stick around. So, how are you today?
I'm so good. I'm so glad to be connecting with someone in my hometown. It feels good. I feel like the energy of Toronto here with me in New York.
I know. I'm freezing to death here.
I'm pretty cool too. It's pretty cold in this neck of the woods too.
All right, well, let's jump right into what you do. So I'm curious for you to tell us exactly who you serve and what led you to this work that you do today.
So it's a great question. So I serve women and I serve girls as well. So it's women and girls in all stages of their life cycle. And the work that I do stems from what I truly needed the most. I want to help women. I've gone through this evolution myself, which is why, when you've got a good thing, you want to share it. So I work with women to help them really tune into the voice of their hearts. Like, what is it that we really want and need in life? So often what we think it is on the surface is very different than what it is once we start working together. So really just getting to the root of like, what's my big why? And I don't need to be doing what everyone else is doing, but I really need to hone in on what I'm supposed to be doing. So through a very, I do a very casual type of coaching, but I coach women through, it's almost like you're sitting and talking with a friend, but at the end of the session, what I've heard my clients say is that, it's like, okay, oh my goodness, I didn't see it that way. And I think that's my biggest goal as a coach, is to help women just change their perception. I think if we can look at our lives through a different lens, we will come up with all sorts of different answers.
Oh, I love that. It's so
Thank
true,
you.
right?
Yeah.
So now, what in your opinion is the mind-body connection, and how important is that we are consciously connected to that?
The mind and body connection, it's like everything that we think, we become. And obviously I'm saying that loosely, but we have the ability to create so much health in our bodies just by adjusting the healthiness in our minds. And so often, myself, I've been doing this for 10 years and I catch myself with toxic thoughts. We say things to ourselves that are unloving. We look in the mirror sometimes and only notice the flaws, only notice things that we wish were different. So what I think the mind-body connection is to really hone that healthiness on the inside, develop a really strong relationship with yourself, because people, we all know this, the mind-body connection, people have started sick, like we become sick. Like, I think about if I'm anxious or nervous about something, I get a migraine, I get a stomach ache, I don't function at my best that day. And, there are thought leaders like Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay who've actually come out and said that the events of their lives and the way that they internalize the events of their lives started the cancer in their body, and they were able to hone into that power and actually use it to heal themselves. So
I find that for myself, when I'm learning how to connect my mind and my body together, or I should say when I've learned to do that in the past, the biggest gift that it gave me was being able to stop myself when I was in this pool of negativity, or by redirecting my focus and understanding my awareness in the moment, right? Being able to shift from the negative thought to the positive thought immediately is a skill that I'm
skill. It's a skill, and it's something like it's like a muscle you need to keep working out and flexing until it just becomes second nature for you.
Yeah, Absolutely. I like that answer. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
My next question for you are what are some of the ways that you teach your clients to nourish themselves from the inside out? And why is this so important?
There are so many ways. If I had to choose one, I would say it's really getting well acquainted with that recording in your brain, that voice that's constantly going, bop, 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 bop. It's saying, unfortunately, if we really take a moment to just witness those thoughts,
Yeah.
we will see that, yes, there's some great stuff there, but there's also some negativity there. And until we stop to notice it, we don't realize how much there is. So it's really getting in tune with the thoughts, because the thoughts create the feelings that run our lives, getting in touch with those thoughts and trying to transform them when they're not serving us. So our goal, I think everyone says our greatest goal is happiness. I think happiness is a big one. For me and for what I've experienced in my clients is we just want peace in our lives. We all just want peace.
Yeah.
So asking ourselves, is this a peaceful thought? Is this a thought that's going to elevate me or pull me down? Am I going to rise up or am I going to stay down? So
I love that. Right? Is it going to move me forward or is it going to put me 10 steps behind? Yes,
totally,
yes, yes.
totally.
I love that.
And you know what? Asking ourselves, like, how would we speak to someone we love? How would you speak to someone you love? Would you say that to your daughter, to your mother, to your best friend? If you wouldn't, you're going to want to really get in on, like, why am I saying that to myself?
Yes, yes, yes. You have two twin girls.
I do.
Girls empowerment. We were talking about this the other day, and empowering our girls with these ideas and raising them up in pretty much a self-development course.
Absolutely. Totally. Right. For us and for them.
Yeah. That's true. Now you coach girls transitioning from young girl to healthy adults. So what is the biggest problem they face and what can you teach us about resolving that issue?
I think one of the biggest problems we face today specifically, if you asked me 20 years ago, it might be different. And, that's not where we're at. We are at a war with technology. There's a lot of good that's come out of it, unfortunately, for our developing young minds. The Snapchat, Instagram world, it can be a really positive thing. And you and I know that, right? Because we use our social media to spread light and spread love. Yeah. But for a developing young mind, it's really hard to decipher what's real and what's true. Mm-hmm. So, and I see this in my own daughters, there will be a party, there will be an event. And it's like, it was enough that in my time, we would hear about it. That was hurtful and harmful enough. In their time, it's constantly in front of them. And the pictures are not real pictures. This is something else we really need to understand and acknowledge. It's like, when we post something on Instagram, on Facebook, we are not posting our difficult moments or the time we woke up in the morning and we're having a really bad day. We are posting like our highlight reel, right? Like that's what you do. But it's hard for these young kids to know. It's hard for girls and women sometimes even. Like I fall into that trap. How can I expect my daughters to not fall into the trap of thinking that what they see on social media is real? So I really think that's one of the biggest challenges we're facing.
Okay. You know what? I was talking about this just this morning about I don't have, my daughter's 12 years old. She's 12 and a half years old. And she does not have an iPhone. And that's a decision that I made on purpose. She doesn't have an iPhone, an iPad, she has a computer, but it's just for homework.
Right.
So she's not in the same world. However, at school, every one of her friends have an iPhone and they have the newest iPhone and they're all over the iPhone on the internet. And it's amazing how much I thought I could control.
Yes. Yes.
But I really can't.
We can't. We really can't, because at the end of the day, if she's not looking at her phone, there's a friend sharing the phone. I think it's a really wise decision that you made, and I'd love to talk to you later about how you implemented that.
You know what? I'll tell you really quickly for everybody.
I would love to know.
This is how I implemented that. I said, you're 12 years old. It took me until I was in my late 20s to own my own pieces of equipment that cost me so much money, as in an iPhone. Right? And I was like, when you have a job and you can support that bill and you can pay for that yourself, and if you break it, you can pay to replace it, hats off to you. So you want to start your babysitting career, you know, this year and earn that money. That's completely up to you, but you have to be able to pay for that phone bill. Period.
Well, Mama.
She has a flip phone. You know, the flip phone that we all had?
Yeah, like it serves the purpose of calling, which is what a phone should be, right?
Yeah, so I sat her down and I said, honestly, this is your phone, and this is what, you know, all of your friends are going to say about it. Everyone's going to make fun of you for it, but you're going to stand beside it.
I love that. And I love that she's doing that, right? She's owning it. I need her in my workshop or teaching it or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, I love your movement, girl life empowerment. I love this. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it. You are all about empowering the greatness in girls. It's what drew me to you. When I found you, I was hooked on you like that. So I want you to tell us about this movement and its core messages.
Okay, so can I tell you where the movement came from and why I felt so connected to it? Okay, so the reason that I really started it was between my clients, where I would work with women, and this is stuff that was going on for me too. So it's not just my clients. What holds us all back from living a life that we dream of and believing that we can go after that life is fear, and that fear for every woman and every young girl is very different. But it's an underlying fear. And I just don't feel that we were born with that fear. I think that, you know, we come into this world with love. We're blank slates. And there are layers and layers of fear that are piled on top of us. And we don't know better than to accept them at a young age. It's a very subconscious decision. And so with the women, this is what I was seeing. And I was like, well, I had this epiphany. Why can't we get these messages to young girls? So what I'm working on with women, put it in a language that young girls understand and set that strong foundation for them as young as 5 years of age, so that when the layers of fear are piled on, and they will be, that's inevitable, at least we've got that grounding and we have those messages from a young age. And although there will always be ups and downs and transitions and challenges, at least we are equipped with our inner tool belt to move through them with as much grace and ease as possible. So that, you know, it really, I was inspired by my clients. I was inspired by my daughters, watching them go through their very own transitions and watching them manage. And really looking at what I was doing at that age and the fear and the anxiety and the uncertainty of being a young girl, and really creating what I needed more than anything. So.
I would have absolutely loved to have had something like that when I was a little girl. I didn't have that.
Me too. And we didn't, I don't know about you, but I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel beautiful inside, outside. I didn't feel confident. There was so much there. And I think we all would have benefited from something like this growing up.
Oh my goodness. I was exactly like that. I remember being 13 and, oh my gosh, incredibly awkward. It's when we start filling out as young women, right? So I went from having this like stick figure to suddenly having kind of curves and men honking at me. That was a weird thing at that age, trying to make sense of the man attention. Like that was weird.
Yes, I'm going to keep that in mind for one of my workshops for the older girls, because you're right. Like, how do you navigate that? Going from a young girl and all of a sudden getting the attention of the opposite sex in a not very nice way, you know?
Yeah, and it happens throughout our lives. I was discussing this with my daughter the other day about how, you know, because now she's 12, but she looks like she's older than her age. She looks about 15 years old. She doesn't wear makeup or anything like that, but she went through a medical thing when she was younger, and it caused her to look a little older than her age. So she's walking down the street with a 12-year-old mentality, and these young, like older teenagers, like I'd say young college, are like checking her out, and I'm looking at them going, she's 12. What do you do? She's not noticing, but I'm noticing.
Not noticing, right? You're totally noticing.
I'm totally noticing and giving like the stink eye.
Your lips, stick eye, yeah.
I was explaining to her though how it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't end, you know, when we get to be women, it doesn't stop. It's not like men stop catcalling you once you've reached, you know, womanhood. Like there is a way to deal with it, but those confusing messages at 12 and 13 years old, it's just unwanted attention. It's just, especially if you're developing soon. I have a cousin who, I'll just tell you really quickly, she developed really, really early. So at 8 years old, she had breasts. like breasts, right?
Yeah.
She's a year younger than me.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just remember her always talking about how she, was getting all of this attention that she never asked for from teenage boys, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know what? They also don't know what to do with all of the hormones, and they're not sure, they need something in their lives too. That's, a lot of people have asked me to start like a boys empowerment program. I said, that's not for me, but boys also need a little bit of guidance and a little bit of support.
Oh, wow. That's true. I have a 6-year-old son. I told you that the other day. So we're not, I'm trying, this is my goal. Want to know what my goal is for my son?
Yeah.
I dream of one day him being an adult and his wife saying thank you.
Aw, it will happen. With an empowered mama like you, it will absolutely happen. And maybe you're the one to start the boys empowerment program. Who knows?
Oh yeah, maybe. Who knows? He's a cool little dude. You'd like him.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
So now I want to get into every expert that comes on this series. I ask them the same 8 questions. And it's all about inspiration and empowerment and your thoughts on who you are in this world and what makes us, what is the actual experience of the human experience. So are you ready?
Yeah, sure. Okay,
so my first question for you is, what inspires you?
What inspires me? Ooh, that's a loaded. I mean, I'm very inspired, like on the regular. But I would have to say the biggest thing for me, I'm inspired by women who show up every day. I think we have our own unique set of challenges, and of course, along with that goes our own unique sense of gifts and strengths. But who show up every day, whether they're moms or, they're people working full-time, middle of the night type jobs, trying to raise a family, trying to support themselves, trying to grow into their best selves. I'm consistently inspired by women on their various journeys. And, it's really what propels me to do the work that I do and to try to serve them as best as I can.
I love that answer. That's really nice. My next question for you is, in your opinion, how do we live an awakened life?
How do we live an awakened life? That's another amazing question. I think it's really connecting with our heart voice. I think it's learning how to change our perception from fear to love. I'm a big fan of the Course in Miracles, which says a shift in perception is literally a miracle. And that shift should be a shift from fear to love. So in any scenario that's going on in our lives, if we can take a look at it in a new way, in a more empowered way, we can really connect to that heart voice and connect to what's real and true for us. So that's
I like that. Connect to our heart voice. That's really pretty.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. Now, based on your own experiences and what you do with your coaching clients, in your opinion, what can we learn when we fall down?
So there's so much. I think falling down, I what some might call as failure. Number one, it's a reroute. I think it's like putting us in a new direction. It's the universe's way of saying, you know what? Either that path is not for you, or you need to work to know just how important that path is for you. So when we fall down, we need to trust that there's a reason for it. Rumi has this beautiful quote that says, believe everything is rigged in your favor. So if we live life as if everything is rigged in our favor, then even the failures, even the missteps, we will know that it's all part of our journey, and there's a greater purpose for us. So
oh gosh, I love the idea of experiences. The more experiences we can have, the more we learn to get back up, the more we fill our tool belt up with things that we need for our future, for the next challenge or obstacle.
And we can either really fall into it, like we can fall into that challenge, that setback, and just be like, oh my God, like just my luck. This is always how it goes for me, which we've all been down that path, or we can be like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next right action for me to get to where I need to be?
Perfect. That's beautiful. So now, how do we find the strength and the spirit to get back up after we've been walloped with something massive?
I think we have to believe. I really do. I think that we need to look at our end goal. Like, what is it that we were trying to pursue? And, I think about my own life, and when I've had challenges like this, they've really been a point of reflection for me, and a point of maybe surrendering. Like, we do what we can, right? Like, I'm all about action. I'm all about, you have a goal, you have something that you want to create in the world, go for it, do it, get to it, don't stop, right? But sometimes the universe prompts us by falling down, by failure, that, you know what, you might just need to surrender your timeline. This just may not be the right time for you, or the right space for you. So I think a gift is surrender, and really just accepting that, and then again taking that next right move, that next right action.
I love that word surrender. I love that word surrender, because so often we're fighting. We're like salmon, swimming upstream, fighting against these things that we just need to look at. We just need to surrender to certain things in our lives to be true.
Yeah. I think that, like, if something feels forced, if there's a pushy energy behind it, there's a reason it doesn't feel right. It kind of feels icky, right? We have to really get in touch with our intuition, which is something I teach in my empowerment workshop. It's like, we have that heart voice again. If we can get in touch with that sense of inner knowing, then we know that no matter what is happening, we can get back up. We have the answers. We just have to believe that we do.
Yeah. Yes. The belief that we can, right?
100%.
Yeah. That's awesome. I wanted to ask you now, what is the most difficult decision you've had to make in order to pursue your destiny?
So this one's really close to my heart. So my father, his first baby, literally, he has 4 actual children, but his first baby is his business. And he loves what he does as much as I love what I do. And that's actually a theme for all of us in our family. We're all super passionate people who, like, once we know what we're meant to be doing, we're on and we're after it. And it's like exciting, I know that you're the same way.
That's good. Laser focus is good.
Laser focus is good. So my father's biggest dream was for all of his 4 children to be in the family business. And, although we were for many, many years, and when I was in Toronto, I was, I think the biggest decision I had to make was to step away from the family business to pursue my destiny, because my destiny was clear to me when I was like 4. I have memories of, I just always felt that I was at my highest when I was helping other people, helping people grow, or supporting them in some way. That's when I was just my happiest and my most peaceful self. And, I fought it for a while, because when your parents have a wish or a goal for you, and you don't know to question it almost in certain scenarios. So, and I didn't, and I went along with it, and I learned so much while I was there. But ultimately, I had to make the decision to leave. And although I help out when I can, my core job now is very different. My role in the world is very, very different. I'm doing the coaching, which lights me up, and the girls' empowerment, which is really like my biggest passion project. So I know none of that would have been possible if I hadn't made this decision.
Wow.
Really,
I have to tell you, I have met so many people in my life who took the path of doing what their parents expected them to do, or what their spouses expected them to do, and they're trapped, and they're living in this world where it's just not fulfilling. It's not stimulating you or giving you, lighting that fire underneath you that we all need, right?
So much. You said it so beautifully. It's like, we need to be doing what we are meant to be doing. And, it's a big lesson to me as a mom, right? It's like, I am not pushing. And again, my father was doing the best that he could. This was a gift that he was giving each of his children, right? That was his goal. But as a parent, my goal is to really help my own daughters discover what it is that they want to be doing in the world, something that truly lights them up, because I just don't think there's any other way. I really don't. The coach in me does not see any other way to move through life. And I truly believe that if you discover what you love to do, you can be so abundant financially, personally, in every arena.
Wow. I love that. You're raising such strong girls in the world.
Thank you. That's the goal. I'm trying.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yes.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Now, what do you think is the purpose of the human experience?
Ooh, I think the purpose of the human experience is to love. I think it's to connect, to truly connect to yourself, to discover and create your own gifts and share them with the world to further that connection. I just don't see any higher, and that's why technology just like it gives us a run for our money. Although it serves as a connection point for a lot of people who may not have been connecting otherwise. But that one-on-one, like what we're doing here, it's providing us with this arena, but like this one-on-one connection. I think this is what it's about.
I love that. I love that connectedness, right? It's so important. I think sometimes about, and I talk about this with my children a lot. If you can just, this is what I say to, especially my daughter, she's old enough to understand this, but I say, when you're walking down the street and you see an old person who just wants to say hi, stop and say hi, because sometimes we forget that certain people don't connect with other humans every day of, like for me, I talk to everybody. I'm always talking to strangers. I've got friends at the school, yeah, stuff like that. So I'm connecting constantly, but I guess in a way I take that for granted because, as we get older, we feel a little less visible. It starts to become more solid, like more about solitude or estrangement, I guess, in a way. My point in saying this is that I think it's really important to remember how valuable connection is with everybody.
Really, really, absolutely. And I love that advice that you give to your daughter. We can't forget, like that is our birthright, really.
Yeah, and especially as women too. I've had this conversation with a lot of women who are over 50 who just feel invisible in the world. They just don't feel like they have they're not taking up the same space they always did, right?
Right. It's different, right?
Yeah.
Transition is totally different.
Yeah. But perspective, I think it comes from inside of what we believe about ourselves to be true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, my last question for you. Actually, I've got two more questions for you. What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh my God, this is such a good one, and I could go on for hours because this is really what girl life is all about. I would say the first thing I would say to myself is don't compare yourself to anyone else. Like there is a light inside of you that will be lost if you're constantly looking at everyone else and counting their blessings instead of counting your own blessings. So just, I'm sorry, that's my computer. I don't know if you can hear the ding. I probably
Yeah, I can hear it.
My apologies. But yeah, just do you. Like, just do you. Be the highest, truest expression of you, of melody that you can be. And of course, that goes along with believing in melody. So I would say, like, really just, chill out. Everything's going to be okay. You've got this. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. You're smart. You're brilliant. That's my message to every young girl.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that advice. I love that advice. Don't compare yourself to other people. It's huge.
It's huge for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, my last question for you is, what, in your opinion, is the purpose of forgiveness?
Forgiveness is like a loaded word, and it's probably one of the most important things we'll do. So often we think that forgiveness is about the other person. And I just don't believe that that's the case. Like even with my daughters, I will talk to them about forgiveness and they'll say, but that person wasn't right. And I said, forgiving has nothing to do with whether that other person was right. Forgiveness is this weight that you have on your shoulders that weighs you down. It's on your heart and it affects everything. So and we've all done things to hurt other people, whether intentionally or not. So, to give that other side of it, but our responsibility, our side of the street is if we don't forgive, it'll weigh on us. It'll be toxic for us for a lifetime. So forgiving is very much just about letting go of how you wish the situation had turned out. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends with the person that you're forgiving. It just means that you've made your peace and you can bring that peace into your heart.
Oh, I love that. You've made your peace. That's really important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Now, I wanted to get into your free gift. Do
My
you want to
free
tell us
gift.
about it? Yep.
So, Girl Life, I had talked about what Girl Life is. It's a girls' empowerment curriculum. It's a training of sorts
Mhm.
that I have created, and I have other women across the globe running the program that I've created that I actually run here in places like Singapore. There are a bunch of women in Toronto running the program, BC, Utah, lots of different locations. So, of course, the goal is to bring more women in to run these workshops because I feel like our message is important and it's strong, and it's definitely significant in the world that we live in today. So I'm giving away the first module of my Girls Empowerment
Lovely.
series. And
Right.
it's the gratitude workshop, and just take it out for a spin. I'd love for any of you who are watching to take it out with your daughter and her friends at a sleepover party. Actually, you can start a workshop if you want. All the tools are there for you, and see how it feels to really get out there and help young girls discover themselves. It's really one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done.
Wow. Wow, that's so beautiful. That's such a great gift. That's very generous. I love that. We can all do something right away by using the curriculum that you've given us. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for this interview today. I think you're fabulous and
I
wonderful.
think you're fabulous, and this has been so nice. And the next time I'm in Toronto, we're definitely going to see each other in person.
Oh, for sure. We're going for a cocktail.
Absolutely. I'm down.
It was great to see you, Melody. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.
As always, everybody, I just want to remind you that Melody and I would love to know what you think. So please hit reply to the email that you got this interview in and let us know your thoughts and how you can use these tips and these strategies in your life today. That would be fantastic. So thank you to everybody. Thank you to Melody for joining the Empowered Women. This is the place to come to learn how to challenge your fears, how to powerfully live the life that you want, and become the highly influential woman that you were born to be. Thank you again, everybody. Thanks, Melody. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you.